I hope you all are doing good, right, children? In our previous session, right, due to some unavoidable reasons, right, due to the connection issues, I was unable to continue that session, right? So today, as a continuation of that session only, we have organized this one. Okay.
Miss,
So
miss,
I hope that, yes, miss.
your camera is off.
Okay. Right. So as a continuation of that only, children, now today we are going to do this session. Right. So whatever the things that we have learned in our previous session, right? First of all, we will just have a look at it just as a summarization, right? Okay. Children, we started to learn about the Candian kingdom. So I told you why the Candian kingdom is very important. Okay. Being the last kingdom, right, that existed in our country. So that is one main factor. Other than that one, you know that this kingdom faced the challenges, right? Where none of the other kingdoms faced, right? So because they have faced the challenges from the Portuguese, the Dutch, as well as the English. So because of that one only, children, I told you that Candian kingdom is very, very important when it comes to the history of Sri Lanka. Also, when I talk about, right, your O-levels, right, in my previous session also I said these things to you, that 3 or 4 MCQ questions you will get from the Candian kingdom. At the same time, there will be one essay type question for sure from the Candian kingdom. So because of that only, I told you the Candian kingdom is very, very important. Okay. So let us quickly have a look whatever the stuffs that I have taught you in my previous session. So first thing that we learn about some names used for the other names that we use for the Candian kingdom. So they are Senkadagalapura, Kanda Udarata kingdom, Kande Nuvara, Sri Vardhanapura, Kanda Udapasrata. So these are some of the other names, right, that we have used for the Candian kingdom that we learn. After that, we have learned that the unique geographical location of the Candian kingdom. Okay. This geographical location of the Candian kingdom is very, very important because of many other nations, right? Like the Portuguese, the Dutch, especially they were, even the British, they were unable to capture this Candian kingdom so easily. The main reason was the geographical location of the Candian kingdom. So after that, we have learned, right? We started to learn about the, right? This is how at the time we learned that one. At the time, there were the Kote kingdom. At the time, the Kote kingdom was prevailing, right? There was a prominent king named Parakramabahu the sixth, right? He was a great king because he ruled the country by joining the other parts unitedly under one flag. Okay. So after that, at the time, at the ruling period of King Parakramabahu the sixth, the Kanda Udarata kingdom, right? That is the Candian kingdom was as a unit of the Kote kingdom, right? So after the Parakramabahu the sixth there, the Kote kingdom started declining, okay? It lost its power. So because of that one, an allied person called, right? An allied person named, right? King Sena Sammata Vikramabahu, he established the Candian kingdom, right? So we learn about it. And we learn after. Here see, so we know that one. After King Sena Sammata Vikramabahu, it was King Jayavira Bandara ascended to the throne in the Kandyan kingdom. So at the time when Jayavira Bandara was ruling the Kandyan kingdom, the Kotte kingdom, a main incident happened in the Kotte kingdom, that is the Vijayaba Kollaya, right? So after Vijayaba Kollaya, the Kotte kingdom was divided into three as Kotte, Sitavaka and Raigama. So Kotte was ruled by Bhuvneka Bahu I, whereas Sitavaka was ruled by Mayaduna and Raigama was ruled by the Raigama Bandara. So this is how the Sri Lanka, right, after the division of this. Here this is the kingdom of Kotte, kingdom of Sitavaka, kingdom of Raigama, and this is the kingdom of Kandy. Right? So after Jayavira Bandara, we learned that one, right? It was King Karaliyadda Bandara who became the king of the Kandyan kingdom. So after he became the king of the Kandyan kingdom, he had to face many challenges. As the Sitavaka Rajasingha, he started posting the threats to the Kandyan kingdom. So because of that one, Karaliyadda Bandara befriended with the Portuguese. So at the time, there was a chieftain, right, in the Kandyan kingdom, Veerasundara Bandara. He gave his assistance to the Rajasingha to invade the Kandyan kingdom. So when he invaded the Kandyan kingdom, Karaliyadda Bandara, he fled to Portuguese along with his daughter Kusumasana Devi, son-in-law Yamasingha Bandara. So after that, the Kandyan kingdom was taken over by the Rajasingha I. So later on, now Rajasingha the one had to rule two parts of the country. One is Sitavaka and then it was Kandyan kingdom. So at the time, right, he appointed Veerasundara Bandara to rule the Kandyan kingdom. But later on, he suspect that Veerasundara Bandara may betray him. Because of that one, he tactfully killed Veerasundara Bandara. So because of that one, his Veerasundara Bandara's son, Konappu Bandara, also fled to Portuguese seeking the protection. Right? So after that, you know, they converted to the Christianity and then they baptized as Kusumasana Devi as Dona Katarina, Yamasingha Bandara as Don Philip, and Konappu Bandara as Don Juan of Austria. Right? Then after that, when Rajasingha, when he was ruling the Kandyan kingdom, at the latter part of his ruling, he started becoming a follower of Shaiva religion. So because of that one, the Kandyan people were so disappointed with the activities of Rajasingha I. By using this opportunity, Portuguese came, invaded the Kandyan kingdom, and they made Yamasingha Bandara as the ruler of Kandyan kingdom under Portuguese. So Yamasingha Bandara was almost a puppet ruler. But after some time, within a short period of time, Yamasingha Bandara died. So after the death of Yamasingha Bandara, when Portuguese was making the arrangements to make his younger son as the king, Vimala Dharmasuriya, that means Konappu Bandara, right, he was defeating the Portuguese and he invaded the Kandyan kingdom and he established the Kandyan kingdom. He became the ruler of Kandyan kingdom as King Vimala Dharmasuriya I. So here we studied that he had to face many challenges, right? He rendered many services for the betterment of the Buddhism. Also, he was one of the prominent king of the Kandyan kingdom. So up to that we have studied in our previous session, my dear children. Right? Okay. So today I'm going to start up with, after the death of Vimala Dharma Surya one. Right? After the death of Vimala Dharma Surya, right? After he passed away, his sons were at a very young age. Whose sons? Vimala Dharma Surya one. So because of that one, his cousin brother, right, King Senarath, he became the king of the Kandyan kingdom. So after he became the king of the Kandyan kingdom, again he had to face some challenges. So what are the challenges faced by King Senarath? One is he had to establish his royal inheritance in the Kandyan kingdom. Okay. Also, children, he had to minimize the threats that came from the Portuguese at that time. So in order to come out of the first challenge, right, what did he do? In order to establish his royal inheritance, he married Kusumasana Devi, right? He married Kusumasana Devi. So after he married, my dear children, they had, right, Kusumasana Devi had two sons from Vimala Dharma Surya one and one son from the Senarath. So Senarath was a king who wanted to establish the peaceful in the country, right? So at the time of when the Portuguese were when they were trying to invade the Kandyan kingdom, he actually wanted to maintain a peaceful relationship with the Portuguese. But still, it ended as an unsuccessful one. So after King Senarath, right, there shouldn't be any problem for the for the competition between the princes for the kingship. So because of that one, what did he do? He divided the kingdom into three and he gave the kingship to the three of his sons. So accordingly, Uva area was given to Prince Kumara Singha. Matala area was given to Prince Vijaypala and Kandy area was given to Prince Maha-Astana. Okay, so this is the important factors that you need to learn during the ruling period of King Senarath. Okay, children. Right. Now, after the death of King Senarath, right? After the death of King Senarath, King Rajasingha too. Okay, who is this King Rajasingha? Right, who is King Rajasingha too? Right. So after the death of King Senarath, right, his son, Prince Maha-Astana, Prince Maha-Astana. This is the earlier name of King Rajasingha too. Prince Maha-Astana ascending to the throne of the Kandyan kingdom as King Rajasingha too. Okay. Now, after he became the king of the Kandyan kingdom, he too had to face many challenges because at the time the Portuguese attacks, right? He had to face the Portuguese attacks. So that was a major challenge that he had to face, right? Also, children, he was a great warrior. King Rajasingha too was a great warrior. So because of that, children, he wanted to chase, right? Kick out the Portuguese from this country, right? So he decided, right, in order to come out of this problem, because at the time the king was so disappointed with the activities of Portuguese, right? So somehow he wanted to chase the Portuguese out of the island. So at this moment only, the Dutch is entering to our story, right? Who is entering to our story? The Dutch, right? So Rajasingha too, he was deciding, right? In order to chase the Portuguese, to get the assistance from whom? To get the assistance from whom? To get the assistance from the Dutch, right? To get the assistance from the Dutch. Okay, so as he was decided to get the assistance from the Dutch, he was entering into a agreement, right? When you were in grade 9, the first lesson you would have studied how did the Dutch capture the coastal areas of Sri Lanka, right? Anyhow, King Rajasingha II and the Dutch, they are entering into a treaty. That means an agreement. They are entering into an agreement in 1638. According to that agreement, right? Okay, so the Dutch is the King Rajasingha II also, he was accepting, right, to provide the necessary needs needed for the Dutch if they chase the Portuguese out of the island, right? But according to this agreement, the fortresses that were captured from the Portuguese should be handed over to whom? To the king, right? But later on, what has happened, children? What has happened? After the Dutch captured the whole fortresses, the coastal areas, whatever which were under the Portuguese, after they capture it from the, right? After they capture it from the Portuguese, they did not, they started violating the agreement, right? They did not hand over the fortresses to the king. Instead, they started deploying. So this is how during the ruling period of King Rajasingha II, Portuguese were sent out of the country and Dutch established their power, right? But the King Rajasingha II was a great warrior because he was able to defeat the Portuguese in 2 wars, children, right? Uwa Randenivala. Uwa Randenivala. Uwa Randenivala battle. Also, Gannoruva battle, right? Gannoruva battle. These 2 battles which held with Portuguese and King Rajasingha II, Rajasingha was able to win and the Portuguese had to face a heavy loss, right? He was a great warrior, but as this Dutch did not, right, act according to the agreement that both the parties signed, finally the Portuguese went out of the country and the Dutch, they established their power in the country. So children, if you get a question, during which king's ruling period the Dutch came to Sri Lanka and they established their power, then that was during King Rajasingha II's ruling period, right? But the king he realized that later on, the Dutch entered to Candian kingdom not to help the Candian king, but to establish their power in the Sri Lanka. So most of the fortresses which were there under the Portuguese that were captured by the Dutch, but still Rajasingha II, he was able to annex some of the other areas which were under the Portuguese to his kingdom. So Rajasingha II was one of the great ruler who ruled the Candian kingdom nearly for 50 years. Nearly for 50 years. Okay, children. So now, so far we have learned today regarding the ruling period of King Senarat and regarding the ruling period of King Rajasingha too. Okay, children? Right. So I hope up to this you all are clear. So let us see after the death of King Rajasingha II, what is happening in the Kandyan kingdom. Right? Okay. Now, after the death of King Rajasingha II, right, his son, right, his son, King Vimala Surya II, King Vimala Surya II, he was becoming the king of Kandyan kingdom. He is the son of who? He is his whose son? Son of Rajasingha, son of Rajasingha II. But children, King Vimala Surya II was not like his father, right? We know that Vimala Surya's father, Rajasingha II, he was a great warrior. But Vimala Surya II was not that quality, right? He was not that powerful as his father. So he was not clever, right? As his father. So because of that time, during the ruling period of King Vimala Surya II, the chieftains, you know who are called as chieftains, right? We can say nobles, aristocrats, right? We can say aristocrats, right? Aristocrats and the nobles, right? We know that they are like ministers, right? Who used to be there in the king's council to assist the king. So when the king was weak at that time, who automatically will become power, right? Here, the chieftains, they strengthened during the period of King Vimala Surya II. Okay, right. But he was able to render many services for the betterment of the Buddhism at that time. Okay, so at that time, right, every king who are ascending to the throne, children, you know, they have got to face some challenges, right? At the same time, since the Western nations arrived to the country, they had to face, right? They had to whatever the war or else the battles which were organizing by those Western nations, they had to face that challenge also. Apart from that one, they were rendering the services for the betterment of the Buddhism as well as for the betterment of the country as well. So King Vimala Surya II also, right, he took the measures to bring the higher ordinance from Burma. Right, we know that one Upasampata Bhikkhu means according to the Buddhism, they are right, they are in the high position, like a senior bhikkhus will say, right? So when they wanted to give the graduation to here for the bhikkhus, a senior bhikkhu should be there. So here at the time there were no more bhikkhus who attained that Upasampata. So at the time they were used to bring the Upasampata bhikkhus from Burma, right? From Burma, from Thailand, right? You would have learned, right? So he also made the arrangements to bring the higher ordinance from the Burma, right? Okay. So King Vimala Surya II, who ruled the Kandyan kingdom, passed away in 1707. He passed away in 1707. Right. So after the death of Vimala Surya II, who became the king of Kandyan kingdom. Children, now we learn about King Senarat, right? After the death of King Senarat, his son Prince Mahastana, he became the king of Kandyan kingdom as Rajasingha too. And after the death of him, King Vimaladharma Surya too. Now, after the death of King Vimaladharma Surya too, his son, Shri Veera Parakrama Narendra Singha, right? Shri Veera Parakrama Narendra Singha, right? Shri Veera Parakrama Narendra Singha becoming the ruler of Kandyan kingdom, right? Now, Shri Veera Parakrama Narendra Singha, who acceded to the throne of the Kandyan kingdom, was a weak ruler, right? He was a weak ruler, right? He did not have a very good knowledge about the administration. So, because of that one, it is said we studied that before Shri Veera Parakrama Narendra Singha's period, even during Vimaladharma Surya II's period also, we studied that the chieftains, they strengthened their power. Similar to that, as Shri Veera Parakrama Narendra Singha also a weak ruler, the chieftains of the Kandyan kingdom, they strengthened their power further, right? So the chieftains, they strengthened their power further during the ruling period of King Shri Veera Parakrama Narendra Singha, right? So King Shri Veera Parakrama Narendra Singha, he married a queen, right, from South India, right, South Indian princess, right, married. So, after the death of Shri Veera Parakrama Narendra Singha, right, there is no one to inherit the throne in the Kandyan kingdom because he was dying, right, without leaving any children. They did not have children from this marriage. Shri Veera Parakrama Narendra Singha, after his death, there was no more children to become the king of Kandyan kingdom. So, according to the tradition of South Indian, right, after the death of Shri Veera Parakrama Narendra Singha, right, Queen's brother, right, Queen's brother, becoming the king of Kandyan kingdom, Queen's brother. So, the queen is from the South India, right? So, she is from Nayaka dynasty, right? Nayaka dynasty. So, now, after the death of Shri Veera Parakrama Narendra Singha, the Sinhala dynasty is coming to an end in the Kandyan kingdom. So, if you get a question, children, who is the last Sinhala king of Kandyan kingdom? Whom you have to answer? Shri Veera Parakrama Narendra Singha. Okay, children? Right. So, again, let us have a look from who established the Kandyan kingdom first? King Sena Sammata Vikrama Bahu. Right. After him, Jayaveera Bandara. Right. After bandara. Karalliyadde bandara. Karalliyadde bandara. Then after that, after Karalliyadde bandara, who was becoming the king, children? Right, you know that one, Yamasingha Bandar. Yamasingha Bandar. Right, but he was ruling the country for a very short period of time. Right, and then you know Vimala Dharma Surya won. Right, after that, King Senarath. King Senarath. So after Senarath, who was becoming the king? Who after Senarath? King Rajasingha II. After that, King Vimala Dharma Surya. Then King Shri Veera Parakrama Narendra Singha. Okay, Shri Veera Parakrama Narendra. Here, Yamasingha Bandara, he was ruling the country for very short period of time. Right, here we missed one person. Before Yamasingha Bandara, Rajasingha, he was also ruling for a short period. Right? So after that, right, the Portuguese invading the Kandyan kingdom and making Yamasingha Bandara for a short time. Then after that, Vimala Dharma Surya won. King Senarath, King Rajasingha II, King Vimala Dharma Surya II, and King Shri Veera Parakrama Narendra Singha. Okay, children, can you take out your tute? Did you get the tute, all of you? Okay, take out your tute, children. Okay, I'll give 5 minutes. Right? You can do the tute. Up to King Shri Veera Parakrama Narendra Singha, you can do. Okay, children. We will discuss, okay, now. Right. So, well, let us one by one, let's see. Right. First one
Rivka
is,
miss?
yes,
Rivka miss?
miss.
They can message you now.
Okay, miss. Okay.
Rivka miss, can I have like 5 minutes?
Yes, miss, sure.
Okay, hi students. I just want to introduce you to our website. So before that, I just want to say, so this history session, the grade 10 and 11 will be a fast track program. So what will Rivka miss do is, she will be teaching the whole syllabus in a short time, like until your O level. So she will be doing the past papers as well parallel when she is teaching, and she will be teaching the whole syllabus in a short time period, right? So the advantage here is, if you join for grade 11, that means I'm saying this for grade 11s. So if you join for grade 11, you will get grade 10 free, totally free, right? So you should join for grade 11. Then what will you get? You will get the grade 10 session free. Okay. And the other thing I want to say is, give me 1 minute. If you join for 3 subjects in our institute, right, you will get a 5% off, right? So if you go to our YouTube channel, you can see that I have uploaded a video regarding how to access our website. Or if you can't find that video, even after you go, you can leave a message to the number I am putting in the chat box. So I will guide you how to enter the website, how to register the website, how to make the payments. So all of this I will be guiding you step by step. So you don't have to worry at all. And even if you can't register, if you find it difficult to register to the website by your own, we will be doing you the registration, and you will get the email and the password where you can just type it and you can enter it. So that's not a problem, right? So then when we go to courses, so let me show you a small part of it. So when you go to courses, so let me show the grade 11 one. Right, you can go to courses through this section. Okay, so this is the grade 11 courses. So when you go there, here you have 2 sections. So let me go to the other one. Yes, so here you can find the program, right? So history, Rivka Rao, and it's a fast track program. So for grade 11s, you will have 2 days. So one is on Thursday, that is 7 to 9 p.m. And the other one is on Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. So 2 days for grade 11. So same like that for grade 10 also, you will have 2 days. So the grade 11, the monthly fees is 1,300. Okay, so let me show you the grade 10 one. So that is for grade 11. Okay, so if you go, you can go here also, the same thing will appear. So if you go here, you can select your grade. Right, here you can select your grade. So let's go to grade 10. Okay, so if you go here, so let's here. So this is the program. So history on for grade 10s will be on Monday 6:45 to 8:45 and Saturday 4 to 6 p.m. Right? So this is for grade 10s. So the fees is 1,200 for grade 10s. So if you are like, if this time is clashing with your other classes, so you don't have worry, you don't need to worry for that as well, because we will be providing you the recordings in the website, so you can access the recording if you miss any session, right? So if you have any more doubt regarding the website, or if you want to join Rivka Mrs. class, you can leave me a message to 077. I'll send that number in the chat as well, but I'll say it also, 077 2345 597. Okay, so I'll send in the chat as well.
Miss 2345
597.
597. Okay.
So this is my number. I have sent my number to everyone. So you all can contact me if you want to register in the website, if you want to join the classes, anything, you can contact me. I will guide you step by step. Thank you. Rivka miss, you can take over.
Okay, miss, thank you. Children, I will explain you here. Now, why I have chosen like for grade 10, I am going to conduct the 2 hours for 2 days, right? Also for the grade 11, because I wanted to give the best, right? Another 3 months only we have, so you no need to worry. Whatever the parts which is more important, right? That I'll be covering for sure. And when it comes to the grade 10 lessons, they are little complicated, right? I don't say that is hard, right? Yes, my dear. I will start from the first, in the sense, now when I take the grade 10 syllabus, there are, right? There are few lessons that are very, very important, right? Also in grade 11, there are few lessons which are very, very important. So history is like, I used to tell my students, history is like a chain of stories, right? Now you see, whatever you are learning in the grade 6 also, whatever you are learning in grade 7. Now just for an example, I'll tell you, in grade 7 you will need, you would have studied the shifting of the kingdoms, right? The downfall of Polannarva, shifting of the kingdoms, you have studied in grade 7. So the same lesson is repeating in grade 10. So if you have the basic clear, right, it will be very, very easy for you to understand the rest of the lessons. Okay, so I will be covering the whole lesson, which are very important lesson in grade 10 and grade 11. So that I have chosen 2 days, 2 hours. So for each grade per week, I'm covering 4 hours, right? So that is what I have decided to do it in such a way, because I need time if I am giving my best, right? That's the main purpose of fixing 4 hours per week. Okay, children. So yes. So whatever the doubts that you have regarding joining the classes, right, you can contact this number, right, to Sateha College. You can contact to this number, and they will help you in registering for the classes. Yes, I'll be providing tutes. I will be guiding you guys for the map marking. In grade 9, some of you have asked regarding the grade 9 syllabus. I had a free session yesterday for grade 9. Yeah, in grade 9 also there are again some important lessons we have. Now, as you all studied grade 11, you all are studying, those who are here grade 11, you know many lessons which were in grade 9, again it is repeating in grade 11. Isn't it, children? So when you have a proper understanding in grade 9, when you study in grade 11, it will be very easy to you guys. And also I'm telling to my students, history is a very, very interesting subject. But the thing is, you should love it, right? Now you see, when you watch a movie, for an example, it may be few years ago, but still you remember certain incident, certain part, what happened in that movie, you remember, because why? You were that interest. So this history also which is with full of stories. So you have to learn, you have to listen to those stories in a very you have to be interested towards the lesson, then definitely nothing is going to be hard. Okay, children. So I will give my best, right? And definitely we will do the best. We will provide you the best. Okay, right. Shall we discuss the tute, children? Okay, right. Quickly let us discuss. Okay. So what were the other names used to identify the Candian kingdom? Children, there you have You have many names. So you can write Senkadagala Nuvara, Udarata Rajadaniya, Kande Nuvara, Kanda Udapasrata. You have many other names, right? Okay. Then what was the capital city of the Kanda Udarata kingdom? You know, what was the capital city? That was the Mahanuvara, right? And why was it considered as a safe place? Because the city of Kandy is protected by the river Mahavali, right? Because of the Balana and Unnaskiriya passes, it is very difficult to access the city, right? So we call the Kandian kingdom is a naturally protected kingdom. Okay, right. So who was the first ruler of this kingdom? King Sena Sammata Vikrama Bahu, right? Who became the king after him in which year? So after King Sena Sammata Vikrama Bahu, it was his son Jalavira Bandara, right, in 1511. And after that, who became the king after Jalavira Bandara? Fourth question, that is his son Karalliyadde Bandara. So name the nobleman who supported King Radhasingha I to capture the Kandyan kingdom. Who was the nobleman? That was Veerasundara Bandara. Right? Okay. Then the fifth question. To whom did Karalliyadda Bandara and his team fled? Right? Asking the protection, to whom they fled? To the Portuguese. To whom they fled? To the Portuguese. Right. Then what were the names used to baptize them? So Kusumasana Devi as Dona Katarina, Yamasingha Bandara as Don Philip. Right? Okay. In which year did King Radhasingha I capture the Kandy? In 1580 AD. From where did he rule the Kandy? He ruled from Sitavaka, because Sitavaka was his own kingdom, and from being in the Sitavaka only, he ruled the Kandyan kingdom. So what was the reason why Veerasundara Bandara's son fled to the Portuguese? Rajasingha I tactfully killed his father Veerasundara Bandara. So in order to seek the protection from Rajasingha I, he fled to the Portuguese. Right. Who was baptized as Don Juan? So after he fled to the Portuguese, he also converted to Christianity and baptized as what? Don Juan. Who was baptized as Don Juan? That was Konappu Bandara. Right? Okay. Who was the king who became the ruler of Kandy, who was loyal to the Portuguese? You know that one. It was Yamasingha Bandara. Right? So who became the king of Kandy after Yamasingha Bandara? It was Konappu Bandara. Okay? Right. So the 10th question. Who freed the upcountry from the Portuguese rule? By which name? So who freed the upcountry from the Portuguese rule? It was Konappu Bandara as Vimala Dharma Surya I. Okay? Right. Next. Mention the period of, who freed the upcountry? Yeah. Mention the period of rule of King Radhasingha II. Right. What were the battles, what were the challenges faced by him during? Here, Vimala Dharma Surya should come, my dear. Okay. Sorry, it is a typing mistake. Here mention the period of rule of Vimala Dharma Surya and what were the challenges faced by him. Right. You know, after he became the king, he had to face many challenges. Right. He had to establish his legal royal inheritance to the throne. He had to liberate the Kandyan kingdom from the Portuguese, and he had to protect the Kandy from the Sitavaka, and he had to rebuild the declined Buddha Sasana. Okay, right. Okay, now let us. Right. Okay, now let us continue the session. Right after we finish the rest of the things, again we will again move to the tute. Since I have a limited time, okay, right. Now the Nayaka dynasty started. Nayaka. Right. So can you remember what I said you? Right? What I said you there is after the, right? After the death of King Shri Veera Parakrama Narendra Singha. After the death of King Shri Veera Parakrama Narendra Singha, it was King Shri Vijaya Raja Singha. King Shri Vijaya Raja Singha. Vijaya Raja Singha, who became the king of Kandyan kingdom. Okay, I'll take 2 minutes of time. Okay, it's Azan. Okay, right. So, after the death of King Shri Veera Parakrama Narendra Singha, his wife, right, the Nayak princess brother, King Shri Vijaya Raja Singha, becoming the king of Kandyan kingdom. Now, children, you know that one, the Kandyan kingdom is one of the, it is a Buddhist kingdom, isn't it? Right. So, the king is belong to Nayaka dynasty, means definitely more than the kings who, the earlier kings who faced the challenges, there should be additional challenges that King Shri Vijaya Raja Singha had to face, right? So the major challenge that he had faced was to strengthen his power, because at the time, who became more powerful in the Kandyan kingdom? Who became more powerful in the Kandyan kingdom? The chieftains, right? The aristocrats, the noble, yes. So they became so powerful. So because of that, children, he had to, right? He had to face the challenges in becoming, how he can become more powerful, right? At the same time, children, even though, right, this king who had embraced the Buddhism and grown in the association of the Buddhist bhikkhus, he acted to bring the higher ordinance from Burma according to the instruction given by Valivita Saranankara Tero, right? But it was unsuccessful, but we have to appreciate him here, because even though he is from the Nayaka dynasty, he took the steps, right, to develop the Buddhist activities. Okay, so after King Shri Vijaya Raja Singha, right, again, after the death of him, he was also, right, leaving, without leaving a royal hair, right? He was also dying. So because of that one, after the death of King Sri Vijaya Raja Singha, again, his queen's brother, right? Again, his queen's brother, King Kirti Sri Raja Singha, King Kirti Sri Raja Singha, becoming the king of Kandyan kingdom. So who was the first Nayaka king, my dear children? Who was the first Nayaka king? Tell me, who was the first Nayaka king? Yes, King Sri Vijaya Raja Singha. Right? So what you have to remember regarding the ruling period of King Sri Vijaya Raja Singha was, at the time, the chieftains were more powerful. So because of that one, the king had to face the challenges coming from these chieftains only. Right? But again, even though he took the steps, right, in order to provide more services for the betterment of the Buddhism, it was ending as a unsuccessful one. So after King Sri Vijaya Raja Singha, it was King Kirti Sri Raja Singha becoming the king of Kandyan kingdom. Now tell me, was this King Kirti Sri Raja Singha the son of King Sri Vijaya Raja Singha? Son of King Sri Vijaya Raja Singha? If I say like that, was it correct? No, it is not correct. Right? It was not correct. Right? It is said, according to the Nayaka dynasty, yes, you are correct. Who? Asfa, you are correct. King Sri Vijaya Raja Singha's queen's brother, King Kirti Sri Raja Singha, becoming the king of Kandyan kingdom. Right? Now, it has been recorded that King Kirti Sri Raja Singha was at a very young age. When he was becoming the king, he was just 16 years old, it seems. Right? So, his father, King Kirti Sri Raja Singha's father, Naranappa Nayakar. Naranappa Nayaka. Who was he? He was the father of King Kirti Sri Raja Singha. He assisted him in ruling the Kandyan kingdom. Right? So, it is said, children, when he was coming to the throne, the Buddhism in our country was very decaying state. So, he took the instruction from Valivita Saranankara Tero. He took the instruction from whom, children? Valivita Saranankara Tero. He took the instruction from Valivita Saranankara Tero, and the king acted to create a Buddhist revival in the country. So even though he was from a Nayaka dynasty, he did not fail to give a proper service for the betterment of the Buddhism. That we have to understand here very clearly. Right? So he took many steps in order to develop the Buddhism in the Kandyan kingdom, right? He established the high ordinance again by sending the messengers to Thailand by the king and accompanying the bhikkhus led by Upali Thero, right? Also, he renovated the temples in the upcountry as well as in the low country, right? So during the years between 1760 to 1765, the good relationship between the Dutch and Kandy collapsed. Children, one more thing you have to understand here. Now the two Western nations who arrived to our country, right? Before the British, it was Portuguese and the Dutch, right? Both of them, they have connections with the Kandyan kingdom. When we talk about the relationship of the Portuguese with the Kandyan kingdom, it was so aggressive, right? It was so aggressive. But when it comes to the rule, this relationship between the Dutch and the Kandyan kingdom, right? For a particular period of time, they were maintaining a very good relationship. It was not that aggressive as during the period of Portuguese. Okay, children. So that was the time. So before this King Kirtishi's Rajasingha's period, there was a good relationship maintained between the Dutch and the Kandyan kings. But again, during King Kirtishi Rajasingha's period, again it was collapsed. Okay. So after that, these are the important incidents that happened during the ruling period of King Kirtishi Rajasingha. So again, Kirtishi Rajasingha too passed away without leaving an heir to the throne. Okay. So who was the first Nayaka king of the Kandyan kingdom? King Sri Vijaya Rajasingha. After him, his queen's brother, King Kirtishi Rajasingha, becoming the king of Kandyan kingdom at a very young age, and that was 16 years. So since he was so young, his father, Naranappa Nayaka, right? He was assisting King Kirtishi Rajasingha. Also, according to the instruction of this Valivita Saranankara Thero, King Kirtishi Rajasingha was also rendering many services for the betterment of the Buddhism. Right? At the time, the relationship between the Dutch and the Kandyan kingdom was also collapsed. So after that, Kirtishi Rajasingha was also dying without leaving a royal heir to the throne. Right? Okay. Now after that, who was becoming the king of Kandyan kingdom? Again, after the death of King Kirtishi Rajasingha, his brother, right? His brother became the king of Kandy as Rajadi Rajasingha. Right? Who? Rajadi Rajasingha. Right. So Rajadi Rajasingha was also not that powerful. So at the ruling period of, right? At the ruling period of Rajadi Rajasingha, it was said, my dear children, the problems, the conflicts arose between the Kandyan king and whom children? Right? Between the Kandyan chieftains. Kandyan chieftains. Right? It was during the ruling period of King Rajadi Rajasingha. Right? Another most important event that took place during the ruling period of King Rajadi Rajasingha was when he was ruling the Kandyan kingdom, the coastal areas of Sri Lanka, right? Coastal areas of Sri Lanka was, right, at the time, it was capturing by the English by chasing the Dutch out of the island. So that was so during whose ruling period the English seized the power in the coastal area. Right? If you get such a question, right? So you have to write what will be your answer. Right? If I ask you a question, during whose ruling period the English seized the power in the coastal areas of Sri Lanka? Very good. It was Rajadi Rajasingha. Again, Rajadi Rajasingha too passed away without a successor. Right? So children, keep this in your mind. I told you during King Rajadi Rajasingha's ruling period, I told that the chieftains, right, they were becoming so powerful, right? They were becoming so powerful, right? So after the death of King Rajadi Rajasingha, it was Prince Muthuswami. It was Prince Muthuswami only should become the king of Kandian kingdom, right? But there was another person named Kannasamy, right? Kannasamy. He was also a Nayaka, belongs to a Nayaka dynasty only, right? But Muthuswami only wanted to become the ruler of the Kandian kingdom after the death of Rajadi Rajasingha. Right? So it is said, children, Kannasamy is also a Nayaka ruler only. At the time, there was a Mahadikaram named Pilimathalave. Right? So I told you during the ruling period of Rajadi Rajasingha, the chieftains had more power. They became more powerful. So Pilimathalava, he wanted to make Kannasamy as the king of the Kandian kingdom because his expectation was Kannasamy was loyal to Pilimathalava. So if we made Pilimathalava as the king of Kandian kingdom, he is going to act as a puppet of Pilimathalava. With that idea, Pilimathalava making Kannasamy as the king of Kandian kingdom in the name of Sri Vikrama Rajasingha, right? Vikrama Rajasingha. So now tell me, after Rajadi Rajasingha, who was becoming the king of Kandian kingdom, children? Tell me. Yes, Kannasamy. So Kannasamy, he was becoming the king in the name of Sri Vikrama Rajasingha. Right? After he became the king of Kandian kingdom, he was a very good ruler because now in the coastal areas, who sees the coastal areas of Sri Lanka? Now who was in the coastal areas of Sri Lanka? Tell me. Yes, it was English, right? It was English who captured the coastal areas of Sri Lanka. Now they are focusing their attention towards which kingdom? Which kingdom, children? Kandian kingdom. They are focusing their attention towards the Kandian kingdom because you know the Kandian kingdom was a specific kingdom, right? So, in 1803, the English was invading the Kandian kingdom, right? So, since the people and the king was not ready for invasion, right? The king had to flee to the Hanguranketa, right? In a place called Hanguranketa he fled. So the English invaded the Kandian kingdom. But, right, with the help of people, right, again King Sri Vikram Rajasingha was able to plan properly, and again he was able to chase the English out of the Kandian kingdom. So mainly it is because of what? Sri Vikrama Rajasingha was so united with whom? The unity between King Rajasingha and the Kandian people. It was the main reason why they were able to chase the English out of the island even though they invaded in 1803. Right? They loved the king. Right? They loved the king. But when the time passes, right, Sri Vikrama Rajasingha's activities, right, it started changing. he started getting the advices of his Nayaka relatives, right? He started getting the advices from his Nayaka relatives. Also, children, he got addicted to what? He got addicted to what? Alcohol, right? So as he got addicted to alcohol, right, he started acting so cruelly. He started acting so cruelly. So whatever the gentle qualities he had during the initial period of the Kandyan kingdom of his ruling, everything changed at the latter part of his ruling time, right? So as he addicted to the alcohol, as he became so cruel, right, he started acting in a very aggressive manner. He killed Pilimathalava itself. Who was Pilimathalava? Who made him to become the king? But finally, the king killed the Pilimathalava itself, right? Also, he had many disputes between the bhikkhus, right? The bhikkhus, the King Sri Vikrama Rajasingha, he started acting on his own, right, by listening to the Nayaka relatives, right, without discussing with the Buddhist monk when he was taking many actions. So because of that one, right, the people, right, and the bhikkhus, the elites in the Kandyan kingdom, they were so disappointed with the ruling of King Sri Vikrama Rajasingha. One more thing happened which made the people so worried about the, yes. So the English was also very important. They played a major role because they realized that until the king and the people are united, definitely they can't capture the Kandyan kingdom. So they also made the strategy here, right? Anyhow, Sri Vikrama Rajasingha, Sri Vikrama Rajasingha, after he was killing the Pilimathalava, he made Ahalepola, right? Ahalepola as the Mahadikaram, right? But later on, Ahalepola, he did not like the activities of Sri Vikrama Rajasingha. So because of that one, he decided to, he wanted to go against the king. So what did he do? He decided to seek the help from whom, children? From the English, right? Ahalepola, he decided to get the assistance from the English to dethrone Sri Vikrama Rajasingha, right? So when the king got to know, right, the Ahalepola is, right, Ahalepola is the Mahadikaram, my dear. See, Mahadikaram. Earlier it was Pilimathalava. I told you, Pilimathalava only made King Sri Vikrama Rajasingha as the king. So after he gave the punishment to Pilimathalava only, he appointed Ahalepola as the Mahadikaram, right? But after that, Ahalepola even could not see that his kingdom is getting ruined by this king. So because of that one, he wanted to protect our kingdom from this cruel king, right? So because of that one, he was deciding to get the assistance from the English. So even though he joined with some people and he was able to invade the Kandyan kingdom, it did not end as a successful one. But Vikrama Rajasingha, he got to know that Ahalepola joined with the English and going to attack the king. Because of that one, what did he do? Because of that one, what did he do? He took a revenge. He took a revenge that he took the measures. The king took the measures to kill the wife and the children of Ahalepola in a very, very cruel manner, my dear children. So this is considered as one of the most cruel incidents, right, in the history of Sri Lanka itself, right? So have you all seen that scene, children? When I say these stories, right, these things will come to you as an imagination, right? But nowadays we have a benefit. We have some video clips. We have some movies where we can see whatever happened. We can see through the visual, right? Okay. Now, how? So this is the family of Ahalepola. Wife, children.
මහරජුරුවන්ගේ අනට අකීකර වූ රාජද්‍රෝහියෙකු මාතලේ ඇහැලේපොළ මහ දිසා.
Children, you all can see, right, the video? Can, right? Okay, good.
ශ්‍රී වික්‍රම රාජසිංහ රජු මරා උඩරට රාජ්‍ය අල්ලා ගැනීමට ඉංග්‍රීසි යුද හමුදාවක් සමග ළඟම එන බව සැලවී ඇති බැවින් රාජද්‍රෝහී ඇහැලේපොළට දඬුවම් කිරීමට අවස්ථාවක් නැති හේයින් උඩරට රාජනීතියට අනුව ඔහුගේ බිරිඳ හා අනෙකුත් ඥාති ස්ත්‍රීන් දිය ගිල්වා මරා දැමීමටත් ඔහුගේ දරුවන්ගේ හා ඥාති පිරිමින්ගේ හිස්ගසා මරා දැමීමටත් ශ්‍රී වික්‍රම රාජසිංහ රජතුමාණන් වහන්සේ නියම කොට වදාළ බව මෙයින් දන්වා සිටිමි. මේ වකට දියවඩන නිලමේ
පටන් ගනියව දණ්ඩනේ
ලේපි පාසයෙන් පෙළෙන වංශර වඩික රජාට අවශ්‍ය මගේ සැමියාගේ ලේන ඔහුගේ මේ හෙළ භූමියේ සුභසිද්ධිය වෙනුවෙනුත් මේ මිනිස් ලකුසාට අපේ මේ ජීවිත පූජා කරමු දරුවනේ, පූජා කරමු දරුවනේ, පූජා කරමු.
තගේ ප්‍රමාණය මගේ කෝපය වැඩි කරයි. බටකයිනි අපි මොකද කපලා ඉන්නේ?
අකට මෙයන් මරණ කපලා ඉවරයි.
අයියන්ඩිය වියනවන්න මරසට මම පෙන්නන්නම් මේ දුෂ්ට රජාට අපේ නිර්මිතිකම් පෙන්නමු අපේ පියාගේ හෙළ වර්ගයාගේ ගෞරව රැකමු බලන්න වැඩ වදික මගේ ගැල එතකොට බාරින් කපාපිය
1814 උඩරටට පැමිණි ඉංග්‍රීසීන් ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ සිහසුන අල්ලාගත්හ. ඉංග්‍රීසීන් විසින් සිරභාරයටගත් ශ්‍රී වික්‍රම රාජසිංහ රජු 1832 ජනවාරි මාස 30 වනදා ඉන්දියාවේ වෙල්ලෝරෙහි සිරමැදුරකදී මිය පරලොව ගියහ. වාර්යපොළ ශ්‍රී සුමංගල හිමිපාණෝ 1831 පෙබරවාරි 5 වනදා යාපනය සිරමැදුරේදී අපවත් වූහ. ඇහැලේපොළ මහත් දිසාව 1839 අප්‍රේල් 17 වනදා ඉන්දියාවේ මුර්සි දිවයිනේදී මිය පරලොව ගියහ.
Okay. Children, did you watch that one? So, just imagine, right? So, that kind of a cruel punishment given by the king. So, do you think that people of Kandyan kingdom, they might be satisfied, right, with the ruling of this king, this cruel king? No. After seeing these incidents, they were so, right, they were so sad, right? They could not see their kingdom, right, falling into the hands of this king, and the people are day by day, they were suffering like that. So I should say this one here, children. King Sri Vikrama Rajasingha was not that cruel king, right? Right? He was not cruel. He had at the initial period, he had very gentle qualities. The people loved him. You know, when the English tried to invade the Kandyan kingdom, even when they invaded in 1803, because of the unity between the people and the Vikrama Rajasingha only, they were able to chase the English from the Kandyan kingdom. But all these things happened because of what? Tell me, he became cruel because of what? He became cruel because of the consumption of alcohol. So many students, they have a question, why madam we should study the history, right? So through the history today, what we have learned that one kingdom even, right, the Kandyan kingdom, that lasted as an independent kingdom more than for 3 centuries, right, that fell into the hands of the English because they used Sri Vikrama Rajasingha strategically to get addicted to the alcohol, right? So anyhow, children, as here the king started gradually, anyhow, even though the English invaded the Kandy in 1803, the king managed to defeat the English with the support of the Kandians. However, during the last few years of the king's ruling time, he acted very cruelly. So the relationship between the king and the people was disturbed. Okay, so the English who acted tactfully, right? The English was waiting when they can enter to the affairs of the Kandyan kingdom. Actually, they were the ones strategically planned, right? They were the ones who strategically planned to the king to get addicted to the alcohol and to turn the whole scenes beneficial for them. Right, yes, John D. Oily, this again in grade 11 you have, right, the second lesson, the capture of the coastal areas and the Sri Lanka and the Kandyan kingdom. So there we will study further in detail, right, how John D. Oily planned, right, in order to capture the Kandyan kingdom. Anyways, right, the English who acted tactfully, they sent their army to Kandy and arrested the king, and in accordance with the, after they signed the treaty, right, that we call as the Kandyan Convention, officially the kingdom of Kandyan kingdom fell to the hands of the British. So King Sri Vikrama Rajasingha, who was in the English custody, was deported to Vellore by the English king. So as you saw in that video, he died in a place called Velur in India. So this is how the Kandyan kingdom ended. So did you understand, children? Okay, now tell me along with me. Now you are going to tell me the whole kings who ruled the Kandyan kingdom. Okay, quickly one by one. Correctly you are going to tell me. Right. Who established the Kandyan kingdom? Tell me. Who established the Kandyan kingdom? Who established the Kandyan kingdom? Yes. Sena, Sammata, Vikrama. Right. Vikrama, Bahu. Right. After him, who ascended to the throne? Yes. Jayavira Bandara. Jayavira Bandara. Right. After him, who became the king of Kandyan kingdom? Yes. Karalliyadde Bandara. Karalliyadde Bandara. Right. After him, who became the king of the Kandyan kingdom? Who ruled for years? Rajasingha I. Rajasingha I. Right. After that, who ruled for very short period? Yes. Yamasingha Bandara. Yamasingha Bandara. Right. After that, who became the king of Kandyan kingdom? Yes. Konappu Bandara in the name of Vimala Dharma Surya I. Right? Okay. After him, who became the king? Yes, King Senarath. Right? King Senarath. After King Senarath, who became the king? Right. King Rajasingha II, whom we call as Maha Astana. King Rajasingha II. After him, yes, his son Vimala Dharma Surya the two. After him, yes, King Shri Veera Parakrama Narendra Singha. Right. After that, yes. So after that only the Nayaka dynasty starting, right? Accordingly, Shri Vijaya Raja Singha. Shri Vijaya Raja Singha. Right. Next to him, yes, Kirti Shri Raja Singha. Kirti Shri Raja Singha. Right. After him, yes, very good. Rajadi Raja Singha. Rajadi Raja Singha. And the last king of Sri Lanka. Who? Yes, Kannasamy in the name of Sri Vikrama Rajasingha. King Sri Vikrama Rajasingha. So we learned, right, the whole ruling period, how King Sena Sammata Vikramabahu established the Kandyan kingdom until Sri Vikrama Rajasingha's ruling period, how the Kandyan kingdom falling into the hands of the British. Okay, my dear children. So this is it. So up to this I have covered up. I hope that you have understood the lesson.
Miss, can I talk a minute?
Yes, miss.
Okay, students. So the classes, the fast track program will be starting from next week, right? So from Monday, you will from tomorrow, day after tomorrow. So it will be starting. So if you are willing to join, please make sure to send me a message and do the payment so that you can join through our website. Thank you.
Thank you, miss.
So can we wind up?
Yes, miss.
Okay.